Welcome back to Fails on the Trails, and we have three faces on the screen, which means Lisa, you survived.
I survived Vol State 500K, all 314 glorious miles across Tennessee. Um, it took, let's see, our finisher time, I have it written down, 8 days, 15 hours, 43 minutes, and 25 seconds. That's how
Wow.
long it took us to get from Hickman, Kentucky, all the way to the Rock and Castle Rock, Georgia.
How are you feeling about that? Because originally it was 6 days. How are you feeling about 8?
I'm definitely feeling very good with what we went through. In 8.5 days, we got rained on every single day except for one. And
What?
the
Wow.
one day we didn't get rained on, we were literally walking into a storm, and I was like, "Here we go again. We're gonna get wet again." So, I think that kind of pretty much as soon as you step off the ferry, any goals, wishes, or dreams that you have about this race just goes out the window because we all there was a last minute reroute that nobody knew about due to a landslide in the town we were going through right off the ferry. So everybody went the wrong way. So we got
Oh
bonus
no.
miles right off the bat.
Was there
So
weather
that
right away,
kind of
too?
Huh?
Was there weather right away? Was there like a storm pretty early?
Yes. So about 14 hours into the race, so we have to check in every 12 hours. And we get to leave anonymous, or we leave comments to get posted anonymously. So a little bit after check-in, I go through and I start reading all the comments. This is my story time. This is something that keeps me entertained. So many of the comments of the first check-in were talking about, oh, we're hunkering down for the storm. This storm's not looking good. I don't like the weather. And I'm like, I haven't looked at the weather. I'm looking at the sky. I turn around. Oh, there's the weather behind us. There's this huge electrical storm that literally was going to come through and literally along the whole entire course. Nobody, no matter where you were in the course, you were going to get it. And if it was just rain, no big deal. But it was lightning, thunder, rain, wind, everything hit us. And that was probably about 14 hours in. So we had to find shelter immediately. I was on Google Maps on the satellite looking, and I was like, oh, there's some overpasses ahead. Take off running for these overpasses. They were just overgrown trees. Like I was thinking like concrete, like, when a tornado's coming, you go under an overpass, right? No, keep running. See a sign for a church. Well, the church is like, oh, the church is half a mile this way up the road. Mm-mm. Nope, nope, no extra mileage. And then somebody started flashing a light from a building at us. Let's go to the flashing light. And I know we had some questions last time about the craziest place you slept. I'm just going to go ahead and ask and answer the question myself. Um, the very first place that we were forced to rest at, we have dubbed the murder shed. There were already three other runners in this abandoned mechanic garage. It was disgusting inside. We sat on the ground. We were freezing cold. We were wet. We decided let's try to sleep. Didn't happen. I got up and to go explore to try to find a trash bag because I didn't have a poncho. I didn't use one last year. I ended up throwing it away, so I didn't bring a poncho. And I go into this building that looks like maybe somebody lived in it, but it wasn't a house. I don't know what it was. And come across two of the creepiest dolls I've ever seen in my entire life in this murder shed. There were murder dolls. So, so we only stayed there probably about 3 hours until about midnight, and then continued on to our next location where we could actually rest and eat and try to get some sleep before pushing on. So the first day was kind of set everybody back with doing extra mileage and getting stuck in that crazy horrible storm the first day. It kind of really set the tone for the rest of the race, I think.
So there was like no real like houses nearby. This was just like a mechanic shed. Did it look like they were working on cars or building something, or can you even tell?
I don't even know. It was a big garage. I know in the back there was a bathroom. There was a toilet. It didn't work. We used it.
Wow.
Oh well, sorry. And then the building attached to it, it wasn't a house because it didn't have a kitchen or anything, but it had like two or three rooms with a front door. So I don't know what it was. We were in a very industrial area. Like when we realized the storm was coming, we were by like the Black and Decker factory, and I'm like, oh, let's take a picture in front of the Decker sign. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much how the first day went. I feel like we could have done a lot more, but that was actually our highest mileage day in that 24 hours. We did 47 miles, which I think we only needed to do 31, so we were already ahead of schedule.
That is a good start, even especially with the storms coming in.
I think so.
Keep it on that the crazy places you slept. Did you have other places where you slept that were a little out there? Because that was the most fascinating thing to me is all the places you sleep. It's almost like a homeless person wandering across Tennessee just looking for anything that has a shelter.
Pretty much, we just needed we were going to try to go as feral as possible and not do any hotels. We got one hotel, and it was actually Brittany's mom who booked it for night four. Like day four for both of us was just very, just when the feels hit and everything, you feel everything physically, emotionally. And Brittany was on the phone with her mom, and Brittany was, I think, had told her like, I'm either calling Jan or I'm getting a hotel in Columbia. And her mom's like, I'll book you a hotel. And that was about mile 170, 175. So it was the only hotel we got. I have a list here that like after the murder shed, we went to the Gleason Fire Department. They set up a station. They cook. They have a shower. They have cots, blow up mattresses. They sent me on the way with a trash bag over me because I didn't have a poncho. Then there's Angel Station in Clarksburg where um, they opened up. They had some cots in there and a bathroom. It was so cold in there though. Once you get acclimated to the heat, every time we went to like some place that was really air conditioned, we were too cold to sleep. Like, never thought that would happen. There was a campground that had a little gazebo that we slept under. Um, we went to it through a town in Lexington where they had like an abandoned building with an awning that we just laid our ground covers on the concrete and had a really good sleep. Had a really good interaction after that with a woman who offered to get us waters, and we were like, "Oh, we're going up the street to eat." And she said, "You know what? You ladies just make me so proud to be a woman." And I'm like, I love that. Like, just she's like, "You're the inspiration to women everywhere." And of course, I was like, "Well, if boys can do it, how hard can this be?" But that was really cool interaction. We tried to sleep in a laundromat because they're open 24 hours. I got 47 seconds of sleep before the local meth heads came in at 11 p.m. to do laundry. And then I went next door. There was an Angel Station, and I slept on the ground there. We slept in another gazebo. There was a church that opens up that had showers and cots for us to sleep on. Then we
Sounds
got a
so
hotel in
luxurious.
Columbia. Huh?
This sounds luxurious
So luxurious.
because you were
I
talking
mean,
last year. You're sleeping on the side of the road. I'm thinking of ultras. I'm sleeping under a canopy in someone's chair that has someone else's sweat already in it, and now it seems like you might have figured it out a little bit.
I figured out a little more. Some of these places I didn't stop at last year, and Brittany and I, we were veterans this year. So I did the whole race with Brittany Asbell. We both did the race last year. I don't think we even talked to each other. We didn't do any miles. I think we sat next close to each other on the bus. So I kind of had her on my radar, knew who she was. And then we connected later on Facebook, and when we found out we were both doing this again together, I ended up flying to Georgia where she lives, and she picked me up on the way to Tennessee. We spent the night, Tuesday night before the race, Wednesday night before the race, did the whole entire thing together, step for step. And then the next day, she dropped me back at the airport. We were together like 11 days total, I think.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
definitely, I feel like we are 100% bonded for life. I mean, if you don't we trauma bonded over a 100 miler, trauma bond over 11 days. And we've got very, very, very close. We did have a couple of driveway naps. I'll admit that. That was kind of feral of us sleeping in someone's driveway. We slept on the side of a Dollar General. We slept at the Nut House, which they're two amazing trail angels who built an outdoor shower and toilet just for this race at their home. There was another campground where we got to shower and sleep. So So we're at places to shower. So we weren't completely disgusting the whole time. We did take a shower in a Walgreens bathroom with wipies.
Yeah.
Took kind of took that over. Slept in a couple of parks, a couple of angel stations, and the last kind of nap was on a church porch, like probably about 5 or 6 miles from finishing. We needed. I told Brittany, I'm like, you need to go to sleep for 20 minutes before we do this last climb, and we put our feet up and laid on a porch, on a church porch, before doing our last descent or ascent up Sand Mountain.
Was there ever a moment where your guys' highs and lows mismatched so much to where a break of speech crossed your mind, or did you guys kind of match energies the whole time?
We matched energies the whole time. I think there's just, again, that day 4 was a little rough, and our, I think, just energies were off. And I was like, this might be, this is a halfway point. We got halfway. Maybe this might be it. And then I get to the fire station where they have, and the fire station is the Hampshire Fire Department. And, Brittany's still, I think, on the phone with her mom. And I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. I really hope, because she had told me like she was calling Jan. She has nothing to prove. And I'm like, if you, that's your choice. A lot of people make that choice, but I would really like to stick this out. And then we did end up sticking the rest of the way together. And I love that we were able to get through that. And again, I was in my feels too. I think I made a video and I was just crying, and I was just like, I'm not happy. I'm not sad. I'm just crying. I don't know what's going on. But it was halfway through the race. I was 4 days in, and it puts you through a lot mentally and physically and emotionally. And I think we both just needed to recharge our batteries alone, and then we came back together and we were totally fine the rest of the way. So I think that worked out for both of us 100%, that we were able to just recharge, regroup, kind of take some deep breaths and alone and figure things out, how we're feeling, and then we can just be with someone again. So that ended up, I think, working very well for us.
While you're looking at hot firefighters,
I mean, you know what, there's only one in there, and him and his wife were running the thing.
Oh.
There was another fire department later, Lewisburg, and there were 3 firefighters actually outside, and there were some linemen that were working in their driveway, and Brittany and I were also watching too, and they came over and was like, how many OSHA violations are we counting right now? I think they were just waiting to go rescue these linemen. So that was fun to get to joke around with. We had 3 different fire stations that we got to stop at, and they took good care of us.
Nice. And who's Jan? You mentioned Jan.
Okay. Jan is the meat wagon lady. She basically, if you want to quit, you're giving up, you call Jan. And a lot of times Jan will be like, well, I can't get to you for a couple of days. You might as well keep going. Or she's very good at asking, okay, where are you at? What's going on? To troubleshoot, to help you out. That actually happened with a woman who we leapfrogged a lot pretty much the whole entire race. Her name was Joey. She was actually in the murder shed with us. and also scared us as she peed in a cornfield, and as she was like coming out of the cornfield, we were just like, oh my God. She called Jan the second night and asked her to, and she says, I'm quitting. And Jan's like, where are you at? And she's like, there's an angel station a mile up the road. Well, we came upon that angel station when she was there, and I kind of looked at the issues that Joey was having. She had a really bad heat rash and swelling on her feet. And I was like, throw away your calf sleeves. Here's some Pepcid for the heat rash. Get some sleep. And before we left, Brittany wrote her a really nice note on some cardboard, and she actually carried that the rest of the race. And so we kind of contributed. We're like, oh, we contributed to her finishing. So that felt really good. And we had another woman the first day who was struggling in the heat, because you think you're heat acclimated, and then 5-6 hours in, you're like, oh shit, this is bad. And she was having a rough time, and we asked, are you okay? Do you need anything? And she's like, I want you to call Jan. And we're like, okay, well, you're going to sit here for a little bit. There's a place up here just over that hill that we're going to get to. You're going to come with us. We sat her down in front of a fan, got her some water, and she finished. And actually her and Joey, Kristen and Joey, were at the rock hanging out at the same time, and they took a picture. So I saved it, because I was like, these are the 2 women that I feel like we helped save their race. So that felt really good.
I can imagine a race that long. You need someone to talk to and go through with. I feel like that's like a crazy distance, and you get inside your head, and especially because she was alone, right? She was doing most of it
I was
alone.
alone. Yeah, they both were alone at the time, and I feel like that as much as I kept saying like, okay, I did this whole entire thing last year with a big group, and I loved that experience that I kind of wanted to see how I could do on my own. I am so grateful that I didn't have to do this alone. Brittany last year was alone most of her race, and she didn't have a good time. And, she finished about 24 hours slower than she did last year. But we kept saying after our goal times went out the window, we were like, we're going to have a good time. That's all. It doesn't matter when we finish. We're here for a good time. And that's exactly what we had.
It's
You
easier to keep
called it a
that
journey
positive.
race, so
Yeah, it is a journey race. You never know what's going to happen and who you're going to meet and who you're going to encounter, and the good and the bad. There were some instances that people encountered, but we had really good positive interactions with everybody.
So going back to our crazies, because we did craziest place you slept. I know last episode I asked the craziest thing that you ate. Do you have things this year? So talk to us about some of the things that you ate.
So, I mean, Angel Station's had like kind of the typical things ultra runners do, but during this race, we had a lot of opportunities for some sit down meals. And for a lot of you that don't know, I've had gastric sleeve surgery, so I can't consume a lot at once. And I am not the type of person that likes to waste food. Well, we had gotten a pack of like gallon or quart-sized Ziploc baggies at a Walgreens that I just threw the rest in my pack. So at one point, I had put in like the rest of a Mexican burrito bowl in there, and I ended up throwing it away the next morning. And then one of our last big climbs, we got Italian food, and I had spaghetti. So I have this whole plate of spaghetti left over, and I'm scooping spaghetti into this bag. I'm like, dude, that would be good in the middle of the night. Just slurp it out of there. So I filled up this bag, and while I'm doing it, Brittany's filming me. She's like, what are you going to do with that? And I'm like, well, I'm going to carry it to the rock and then throw it away because I probably wasn't going to eat it, but I was like, I can't waste this food. Well, fast forward to about 2:33 in the morning, we come up upon a runner named Kim, and we're about to go through a town called Tracy City that is known for having packs of dogs, and she didn't want to go through it alone. Again, it's the middle of the night. So I'm like, cool, we'll go with you. And I was like, hey, do you want some spaghetti? And she's like, actually, yeah. And I was like, it's not that old. So she's slurping it. She's like, you know what? I'm going to save this so we could throw it at the dogs if the dogs come out. And I was like, damn, I should have brought my meatballs, but I didn't bring the meatballs with me. Well, apparently she finished. She thought that was so funny. She carried that bag until the next Angel Station, threw it away. I was like, just throw it away. I'm not going to eat it. Well, when she finishes her race, she's talking with Laz and Carl at the finish line about my bagged spaghetti. So then they ask me about it, and we come up with this great plan. Patent pending, nobody steal this. MRSs, meals you can slurp. You could put spaghetti in there. You could put burrito bowls. I had pizza in. I shared with runners at one point, like on night 2 or 3. I was like, here's some 24-hour pizza that I've been carrying with me. It's fine. Do you want? So I think my bagged meals were probably my at least my, not crazy, but I think they were the funnest.
I think someone we had on the show a couple weeks ago was talking about how they had mashed potatoes in a bag or a sweet potato in a bag.
Yes, and you just bite the corner and slurp it. It's delicious. Anything you can slurp. So I think all my meals for races are going to be slurped. And just also a pro tip that I think we found. I think races like maybe 100K, 100-mile, 100K and below, you really concentrate on carbs, right? Well, anything over that, you really need to add the protein. And so Brittany and I, every time we got to a gas station, we would get the like 42-gram protein Fairlife shakes because they're also lactose free, so they wouldn't like upset our stomachs. And drinking one or two of those every day, I think really helped us from bonking. I mean, don't get me wrong, we bonked a lot, but I think that helped us from not bonking as much. So pro tip, those are great.
What were your go-tos going into a gas station? What was like the first thing you went to grab? Because I know you said those shakes. Were there other things that you were just kind of craving the whole race?
Those shakes didn't really have a lot of cravings. I think I think I kept mostly the same. Every once in a while I would replace my smart water bottle. I like the ones with the flip tops, so I just had it in my front pocket so you could just kind of squeeze it and drink. Um, if there are, I mean, anywhere there are popsicles, I think that seemed to be the magic word. But I think popsicles we mostly got from Angels and Angel Stations. I don't think we ever bought any. Um, yeah, I think we really relied on the Angel Stations and restaurants more than gas stations this year. Last year, I think we did a little more gas station stuff, and I think I ate more Payday candy bars or sausage biscuits than I care to admit. If I needed like a caffeine kick, maybe get like a Red Bull or a Monster or a 5 hour energy drink from there. But food wise, I didn't really get a lot from the gas stations this year or Dollar Generals. I only went into one Dollar General that I purchased things. Last year, I think it was like 10.
Wow.
Wow. That's a big
You,
difference.
It's a big difference. I slept on the side of a Dollar General that was closed. They weren't open yet. And then the last one we went into, um, which was right before a big stretch of highway in the middle of the day where we weren't going to have anything to resupply. We picked up some water, some Gatorade, some snacks, and that was probably one of the coolest interactions we had. This race, Laz, I think started it so you can see the kindness of people that like they're like you're doing something crazy. I'm just gonna shake my head at you and tell you you're dumb, but I want to help you. And we ran into a gentleman at this Dollar General that asked what we were doing, how far we've come, where we're coming from, why. It was kind of funny. Everybody's like, "So what are you walking for?" And we're like, "Well, we're walking for one of these stickers. That's all we're doing. We're just getting the sticker."
what's your
Um,
cause?
That's my cause. And he was like, "Well, can I go in and buy you anything?" And we're like, I think we're good. There's an Angel Station like 7, 8 miles up the road we want to get to and just rest." And he was with his aunt, his elderly aunt, and she's like, "Oh, well, I just live on this road up the road. Um, I've been seeing you guys walk by." And we're like, "Oh, that's nice." And we're like, "Well, it's nice to meet you." And we take off, and a few miles later is we were having the biggest bonk. I had my head down, falling asleep, death marching. Brittany's on the phone with her mom. I can hear her conversation. And all of a sudden, Brittany's like, "Lisa, look, look." And we look over to the right, and here's this man running towards us from the driveway with water bottles. And we were overheating. There's no shade, no shoulder. And we walk across and talk to him. And I was like, can we sit under your carport here for a little bit? He's like, "Oh, come around back. We have chairs." Um, and there's a breeze going on. So we sat back there and chatted with these people who, again, true angels. They had no clue about this race. The other road angels and angel stations, they know about this. And we chatted with them. And finally we were like, "Do you mind if we just take a nap back here? Like we can't come in your home." And his Aunt Nina had gotten us like some towels. So we just laid down. There was beautiful countryside. There was a wind chime. There was a breeze. We knocked out so hard, and it was the best nap we ever had. And they followed us, and she's like, "I think I'm going to put an angel station here next year because it was the perfect spot to just break in between this long stretch." And that was just one of those magical. We kept saying we're going to manifest some magic, and we definitely did this whole time.
So nice.
It is nice. It
Like
really
just
like I'm
humanity.
crying again just thinking about it. It was just very cool.
And you've fed me so many times. That definitely feels like a pay it forward moment where like someone finally took you under their canopy and fed you and
Yeah,
really
what goes around comes around. I feel like if you treat others how you want to be treated and how you want, I want to take care of other people and hope that one day they'll take care of me. And it came around full circle. So I'm very, very grateful for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still was the pharmacist and was handing out drugs to everybody that needed
Mhm.
it. Legal drugs, over the counter drugs, just PSA right there. But I think I had so much Pepsid that I gave out to everybody. Like, "You have heat rash, take this." And it definitely came in handy with my little pocket pharmacy.
remember the details, but last episode you were talking about like someone from Louisiana. Did they come through for you? Was there some kind of crawfish
Oh,
bowl or
Terry. I think I made him feel really bad. Peach Man Terry. He had to downgrade him and Pam, I think they separated their angel stations a little bit. And I walk into Terry's and I'm like, Terry, where's my red beans and rice? And he's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't have time. Like I feel like this just kind of came up on me. And I was like, oh my gosh, I am just joking about this. And he kept saying how bad he felt. And he was like, I was even soaking the beans and just things came. And I was like, Terry, like you do so much. Like like you're allowed to have an off year, or even if you decide, hey, last year was my last year going big, I need to downsize. Of course. I mean, anything they do for us, we are grateful for. We're not asking for this. We're not expecting this. There's still things that surprise us out on the course that, just a random styrofoam ice chest with, hey, labs runners, help yourself. And you open it up and there's iced water in there. Like that's magical to find out there. And now when I go out for a run or a walk and I see a random ice chest, I'm like, oh, I wonder what's in there. Is it for me? I'm gonna go look. And
Seems like the amount of gratitude you get from this experience. If you just hear anyone complaining about anything, you're just like, you have no idea what it's like out there.
no, the only thing, I mean, there are a couple of aggressive drivers that just are like, get off the road and don't move over and drive too close or rev. I was I don't know if I can say this. I would just say men with big trucks who have SDE. Let's put it that way. Um, hmm. You
They're
can
not
figure out that
firefighters.
acronym, that would like to rev and think they're, scare you and get too close. Like, other than that, like every interaction, we'd go into restaurants and everybody would talk to, oh, I've been seeing you guys come in all day. Like, where, and they always want to ask, where are you from? How much further do you have to go, or how far have you already gone? And they're really curious about this because they're just shaking their head like, y'all are crazy, but at the same time they're very interested and they want to help you. They're like, and where can I follow you? And we give them the Facebook page, and all of a sudden some new person is like, way to go, Lisa. And I'm like, who is this? Oh, I met them 2 days ago. Like it's really cool, like just small family community. And it's not only the runners and the race directors, it's every single town you go through, everybody is just like, they'll be posting for days like, hey, these dates, you're gonna see people walking through town, like just, or sleeping in random places. They're not homeless. Just, give them a cheer. If you have some water, Gatorade, they'll be definitely grateful for that. Or just giving them a little toot toot on the horn, not an aggressive toot, but a little one to tell them, hey, we're here, good job.
I sensed some excitement before we started when you talked about the coffee shops. Was that because it was you're coming into caffeine baked goods, or what was the good stuff about all the coffee
Caffeine,
shops
I
out
don't
there?
know. I mean, you know me, I have a slight caffeine addiction. I mean, I had a whole baggie of caffeine pills also that I was giving out. I wasn't going to have like, 20,000 milligrams of caffeine, but we did, it wasn't planned, but we did stop at one that also had like a deli, but we got like an iced coffee. And then it just became like, we walked into another town and a woman was carrying like a to-go thing and asking us what was going on. And she walked into a coffee shop and we took like 2 steps forward and we're like, let's go get coffee here. And we went back into this little coffee shop, which was really cool. It had like witches and like horror film stuff. I loved it. Like the coffee we got was called Coffin because it also had a shot of espresso. Um, and whatever she was making, she's like, "Oh, I just made this. It has like, it's my homemade sourdough, and it had cheese melted and meat, and it had like cottage cheese with pineapple and like pickled beets." She's like, "Here, this is for you." And we were like, "Well, thank you," and got our coffee and chatted and took a nap at the gazebo and went to the next town. And I think Shelbyville was the coffee shop I was looking forward to because I stopped there last year for the Trash Pandas and we did a little photo shoot with Jenny, which unfortunately she couldn't do pictures for the race this year, but that kind of brought back a lot of memories. And then in a town called Ward Trace, we stopped at 1 in the afternoon. I was surprised they were open and sat in there on the ground because I'm like, I'm not sitting on your nice furniture. And and then our last one, we thought we were coming into town before they opened because Google said they opened at 6 a.m. And we were like, let's just go see. There's a gazebo here if we need to take a nap. And we go and try the door, and oh, what, lo and behold, they opened at 5:30. And that last coffee shop last year, Brittany went by and was so excited, and there were open hours, and the door was locked. Well, the actual coffee shop hadn't opened yet. They opened August of last year. So they were just there. They just hadn't opened yet. So this year we went and we took pictures and sent it to some of the guys that she was with last year that also tried to go get coffee there. So it became a little, we got to go to 5 different unique local coffee shops and support them and get our iced coffees, and then had them fill our cups up with ice. Because that seemed to be another pro tip is gas station, huge. Oh, actually, that was my favorite thing from gas stations I did differently this year is I would get the huge styrofoam cup and fill it up with ice, and we would just walk and eat ice, and that's how I hydrated during the day. Another pro tip.
Did the
All the ice.
baristas know you guys were in the race, or were you like homeless people, or were they like, oh, you guys are doing that race thing?
Some of them, they're kind of curious. A lot of, I don't know if maybe other runners come through and they're not as chatty or something, because I feel like a lot of restaurants or coffee shops or stores, even we went into, a lot of the cashiers or baristas or waitresses, whoever, would be like, so what's going on? I've been seeing people walk through here for the last couple of days. And we would tell them about it. But I feel like, have they not asked anybody else, or has nobody else stopped? Are we the only ones that are, deciding we want to sit down for a meal instead of just blow through town? There were people that would get a hotel in almost every single town. Steve Griffin, I think, got a hotel every night. We would make fun of him, but he would catch up to us every day. Like we would, up until the very end, he got a hotel at the Clarion in Kimball, which is like 16 miles from the finish. And he stayed there and he finished the next morning. And we were like, we're ready to be done. We finished like at 11 o'clock at night. So, everybody to each their own. But I was like, I think we have enough resources where we don't have to stop and get a hotel. And by the time you shower and lay down, there's like, 4 or 5 hours. Some people would stay there longer. And our hotel stay, I think it was maybe only 3 hours. I think we showered, got 2 hours of sleep, and got up and kept going.
It takes some discipline not to stay longer when probably in the AC in the bed and be like, maybe 2 more hours, or was there
Yeah,
ever any like thought of that, of like extending like at least for an hour, 30 minutes, knowing it might help out in the future, or were you just pretty strict on yourself?
we were pretty strict. There was one place we stopped at, like the Swift trucking company.
Mhm.
Like you see like Swift on trucks. Okay. They have a little building. They have an Angel Station. They have a facility, like a training facility on the course. And they had like a canopy set up, and we were there in the middle of the night, again, sleepwalking, and we pull up and they have like 2 cots, nobody's using them, and like, let's try to sleep. Well, as we're looking around, we see a note on the table. It says, hey, the building is open, or here's the code to the door to the building upstairs, and there's a bathroom and shower. And we're like, cool. They also had 4 rooms with blow up mattresses in it. So we went up.
Wow.
Okay, we're like, we're going to go clean up. We're going to, it was just a blow up mattress. There were no blankets or anything. So we had our little covers because it was, again, it was air conditioned. It was so cold. And we were like, okay, let's set an alarm for 2 hours. We set an alarm for 2 hours. We woke up. I looked at Brittany. I'm like, how are you feeling? And she just looks at me. I'm like, I'm going to set it for 1 more hour. Like we were able to read each other, and just getting that 1 more hour, like we were very good at being in tune of how we were feeling. Sometimes a 20-minute nap is all you need. Sometimes you need a 3-hour nap. And we were very in tune, or I was very aware of when I'm like, okay, Brittany, I think this became our thing when she would get a little moody. I was like, here, eat something. And then she's like, just tell me I'm pretty. So every time she would get moody, I would be like, hey, have you eaten something? She's like, no, let me eat something. And I'm like, you're pretty. So also another pro tip, guys, if a woman is being a little moody and emotional, just feed her and tell her she's pretty. And I guarantee you she will be in a better mood.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Take
it's the
that
biggest
note,
takeaway.
Justin.
It might be the biggest takeaway from this episode.
Yeah, that's your lesson learned. There's a lot of lessons during
Yeah.
this
Okay.
whole adventure.
Yeah, typically I get on here and you guys are talking about like poop bags and shit like that. But now I'm like, oh, I'm getting
Ice
some
food
good
or boob
stuff.
ice.
Boob ice and poop. Yeah. Here we go.
Boob ice and poop bags.
I feel like even though you went a little bit over your time goal that you had in mind, like made so much progress compared to last year, where you had to stop so many times at the Dollar Generals, and you found all these unique new spots you can rely on. I feel like it sounds like it went pretty smooth.
I think so. And, this is only my second year, but I feel like when you do this race, no matter what happens, exactly what happens is what is supposed to happen. There were so many people that had these very ambitious goals, especially some of the newbies that I was like, oh, good for you. I hope that works out. Um, and things may have changed if I was just said, fuck it, I'm gonna take my chances with the lightning and see if I get struck. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to hunker down and see what happens. And then we just kept getting rained on. Luckily, I think that was the only lightning storm. The rest was just a lot of rain and some wind, which catch 22. You're going to have wet feet and wet other areas of your body, but also it cooled it down. So it was a cooler year than last year. Last year it was hotter, but I think we had more humidity. There's just so many things so many factors you have to factor into how this rate. And again, it's a journey. I mean, you could fall asleep and not set an alarm and wake up 8 hours later when you only wanted a 2 hour nap. Things can happen and can and then that could screw you up where now you're stuck with going during the day in the heat versus and I think we ended up somehow doing more miles during the day than at night because we had to check in every 12 hours. I have I have my 24-hour kind of stats, which we were usually between 32 and 38, like 32, 35, pretty solid every 24 hours. And that includes all our breaks, all of our sit down meals, all of our kind of just bullshitting with some of the other runners when they would come in. We leapfrogged with so many people. There was a trio, I think, that ended up becoming 4 people, but we would call them Ashley and the Canadians. Because Ashley was the woman, and then 2 French Canadians. Nicole, they both. I loved listening to them talk, and they're very very nice people, and we leapfrogged so much with them. And Joey, our friend Joey, ended up joining them, and we leapfrogged with Steve Griffin a whole bunch. He even, I think that night 2, snuck a photo of me sleeping in an Angel Station that's floating around somewhere. So I got him back with him sleeping on the side of the road. And we had another guy. We didn't learn his name until the last 24 hours. We just called him Blue Shoes. Because obviously he wore blue shoes, and just a lot of other people that we just kind of made nicknames for people. I mean, we eventually learned their names. We're not heathens, but it was fun having nicknames for everybody. And I'm sure Brittany and I got a nickname. So I am still a trauma bonded trash panda. I will always be a trauma bonded trash panda. But there's kind of a phone chain with some of the bigger Angel Stations and Jan, the meat wagon lady. We are the Giggle Twins.
Nice.
Okay.
Because we just laughed so much. I'm sure a lot of it was the delirium giggles that people get, but we woke up, we fell asleep at the nut house, and we woke up, and I said something about another couple, let's just say it has to do with underwear, and we just started laughing, and the nuts were on their front porch, and they looked over, they're like, I've never seen anybody wake up giggling. And later we're coming into the Bailey house, which is another amazing Angel Station. I did not get to meet the Baileys last year, neither did Brittany. So we were so happy we were there before sunset. And something happened on the way up there to Brittany. And we were giggling about it, laughing our asses off. And they're like, it was a big climb to their house. And they said, we've never had anybody laughing their way up that road. And we were laughing. Long story short, Brittany had to pee behind a guardrail and got stung in the butt by a bee.
No.
Oh.
But the pharmacist took care of it. I checked her butt for a stinger, and I gave her medication, and I had Benadryl cream that I rubbed on her butt. And that was not on my bingo card this year to check my friend's butt for a stinger. So I think that was one of my comments. So we were laughing about our check-in comments about bees, and we got to the Bailey house, and Mrs. Bailey made a baking soda paste. Have you ever heard of this? for like stings, and it's old school, like
Oh.
where you get baking soda and water and just make like a paste and you put it on like I made it for my heat rash last year. And so she came out and made it and was spooning that onto Brittany's butt also. And she tried to get me to sign up for farmers only because there are a lot of really good looking farmers out in the area. She was trying to hook me up. So we had a good time at the Bailey house.
You had mentioned you were going to wear a particular pair of shoes. I'm curious how that worked out for you.
For a pair of Tiva midforms, just plain Jane Tiva sandals. 10 out of 10, I am probably not going to wear shoes to most of my races anymore. I only had two issues, zero toe issues, zero toenail issues, really zero blister issues. I did on the outside of my right heel and on the ball of my right foot. I got a blister kind of day one, I think just from the wetness and the camber of the road. The one on my heel got pretty bad, and a trick I learned from some of my friends who are former military doctors. Actually, I carried needle and thread with me, and you get the needle with the thread on it and push it through the blister, and you leave the thread in your blister, and it keeps it open, so it keeps draining. And so I did that to the blister on my heel, and I never felt it again. It was it was magic. And so but also the needle and thread came in handy. Brittany had a lot going on in her pants. Her shorts started disintegrating the seams, and she used my needle and thread to try to help that. And she ended up having to buy some leggings at CVS and cutting them into shorts. we kept saying we each have two working brain cells. Combined, the four came up with some really good solutions to things.
Think of how different your race would have been if you guys wouldn't have reached out on Facebook and kind of connected.
I know. I don't know if we would have connected on the ferry or, I mean, she reached out to me saying like, "Hey, do you have a room at the Clarion on Tuesday?" And I was like, "I do." And I got it with 2 beds. Would you like to be my roommate? I just do it just in case. If anything, I have an extra bed to put all my shit on. And it kind of went from there. And then I was like, "Hey, Southwest sent me an email about really cheap flights. I could fly to Atlanta for $75. You live in Georgia. You go right through Atlanta on your way to the race. Can we work this out?" And then everything was just meant to be. It worked out. And I had a flight home like Monday or something. And on our way down from the mountain, I was like, "What time do you think y'all are going to be heading back to Georgia?" And before we even got back to the hotel, I had my flight changed and was already back at Atlanta out the next morning or the next afternoon. And luckily her parents had brain cells because there was a time zone change. And I probably would have put myself there an hour past my flight. So I'm glad they were thinking for me to get me to the airport in the right time zone.
The final crazy I had that I asked the last time was like crazy overall moment. Is this where the dogs come in, or did you have other crazy moments throughout the race that are story worthy?
I mean, not crazy. I did tell the story of the angels that were just, unintentional angels that just happened to be. And we had nothing, I don't think anything really crazy happened to us. We had another just remarkable angel moment that we needed when we were leaving a town, and we knew, and it was sunset. We were going to go all night long on a long stretch with no resources. We each just had 2 water bottles each, and we didn't express it to each other, but we each thought, "I don't know if this is enough water for this stretch." And as we thought that, we kept hearing something. We were looking behind us, like, is there a runner? And again, it's on the other side of the road. We see a man running through his lawn towards us and yelling something, and we couldn't hear it because there's traffic. So we safely crossed the road, and Reverend Donald Reverend Donald, we'll do that. He said, "Hey, I was just checking my mail and I saw you ladies walking by, and I wanted to give you each a water and a Gatorade." And that was just perfect. Like, we were just on the edge of town. There was no other resources. And he did find us on Facebook. He said he was going, as we walked away at sunset, which was perfect. Like, he's like, "I was just praying for these ladies to get where they were going safely, and he kept checking up on us like every day. So I think that was really cool. And I think just our final climb up the, I mean, again, it wasn't crazy, just a really cool moment to have. We were very quiet the last probably 6 or 8 miles, and we had a really good kind of climb up Sand Mountain. It was at sunset, and we were just looking through the trees at the sunset. And there was one clearing. Brittany was ahead of me, and she'd gone past it. And there was a clearing. I was like, Brittany, you have to come back. You can see the Blue Bridge, which is kind of, I don't know, a big landmark that you go across. It's like mile 300, basically, the Blue Bridge. And I was like, you can see the Blue Bridge from up here. And I took a picture of it. And I took some pictures of her going up the road in the sunset. And Justin, you're going to hate us, but Brittany, whenever she needed some music, she would play Taylor Swift. So I busted out Taylor Swift and just put on random songs, and we sang Taylor Swift for like 2 hours going up this mountain. We didn't talk to each other. We just sang Taylor Swift, put our heads down, and marched up this mountain. And I think that was probably a really, really special moment, at least for me. I'm sure it was for Brittany, but I was behind her just watching her go up this mountain and hearing her sing some of the songs I didn't know, but she was singing like every song I played. So
That makes me really happy because I feel when we had our emo songs, we were hitting every emo song, and then my phone died, and then you said it's time for Taylor Swift, and I couldn't be the Britney you needed in that moment because I'm not a Swiftie and I don't know these. So I feel
you
like
didn't even
you're
know
like
Mulan. We also had a Disney sing along, and
Disney,
she knew
yeah.
every single Disney song. And I know you don't know Disney, and that really upset me.
But I feel like that was due. Like you were due for a sing along, a Swiftie sing along with a fellow Swiftie.
Yes.
So Brittany, thank you for stepping up and being a
She
Swiftie.
did put up with my 4 a.m. song that I always play, Taste of Ink by The Used. It's
Oh,
that
beautiful.
one line, it's 4 o'clock in the fucking morning. But you
Absolutely.
listen to the other lyrics of the song, and I'm like, oh my gosh, is this about Ball State? Because it's like each day gets more and more like the next day. And I'm like, yes. And just some of the other lyrics to that song, definitely. So she asked me later, what was the 4 a.m. song? Can you send it to me? So, because I played it like 3 or 4 times, and then I just forgot when it was 4 a.m. to play it. I needed an alarm or something.
And for Ball State, you can plan it out to where there's 3 a.m. by Matchbox 20.
Yes.
And then
Good.
Usher at 7 o'clock on the dot on my drop top. So you got the Usher for 7. So
Oh my gosh, I could totally have an alarm for every hour with my actually check-in alarm, because we had to check in every day at 7:30 a.m. and p.m. Everybody else had their typical whatever chimes. Mine was "Downfall of Us All" by Day to Remember, so it was just like da 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 da, like, and I was like, in case I'm dead asleep, I need someone screaming da 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 is at me to get me to check in. So that was my check-in alarm, and I would jam out for like 30 seconds before I turned it off.
I knew there'd be a day to remember in there. That's
There has to be. That's my favorite band. Those are my boys.
yeah.
They get me through.
Was Brittany into the emo music, or were you just like, girl, go ahead, I need to have a moment?
I think she would have been. I'm not sure. We did kind of talk music. I think we both have a very, like I say, I'm polyamorous. I think she was too, but what she was able to pull up was just Taylor Swift on her phone, and I'm like, you know what, this girl likes Tay. I will play some T Swift, and if that it gets us up this mountain, because I think it was getting a little too silent, or we were getting to that point, at the end of a race where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to be done, but also, oh fuck, this is about to be done. And we're still
Mhm.
like now, I mean, we finished Friday night, it's now Wednesday. Like it was still just like, how do you process back into the real world after like she just did a live about like real people don't pop a squat behind a guardrail to pee or lay down in some random person's driveway for a nap or open up an ice chest or have somebody hand them a popsicle randomly. We're just like, what do we do? How do when all we had to really think about or concentrate on the moment we stepped off the ferry was where we're going to eat next and where we're going to sleep. It's all we had to worry about. Nothing at home. We even at one point, after a few days of seeing flags at half mast, we're like, did someone die? And I had to Google it to be like, why are flag? And it was somebody, a senator that passed away on Saturday, and this was Tuesday now. I was like, I don't know why the flags are half mast. I don't know what's happening in the world. I come home to finding out people passed away, and I'm like, I had no clue because I've been off grid. It's crazy coming back from that, and then you're in the real world, and it's like, ugh. I want to go
First
back.
day.
I want to be homeless
Yeah.
again.
Go back. Wow. And then also, like, when you run your next race, you're going to feel so spoiled that there's like a reliable aid station every 5 miles.
I know, yeah. Well, Habanero's next, and yeah, I'm gonna have an aid station every 3 miles. I mean, that I know is gonna be there every single 3 miles. So now it's like, okay, I'm not having to like, well, this was here last year, but I don't know if it's here this year. You can't rely on that. So you have to carry enough on you. I mean, I had some emergency calories, like some 30-gram gels or something for like an emergency, but other than that, we just kind of let's wing it and hope for the best, and hopefully somebody will take care of us.
Maybe too soon to ask, but I remember when you first finished it, I was like, Lisa did it. She never has to do that again. Proud of you. And then you signed up for it again. And then you were saying it is quite the commitment. It is definitely time, money, but but just hearing you talk about the journey, I think there was a ton of suffering out there, and we just probably talked for 50 minutes about the joy. I know you talked about crying a little bit. So, with all that being said, is it too early, or have you decided about next year?
I'm putting my name in. I can't. It's like a family reunion. A lot of people say there's different races that I feel like just family coming home, and like every year is going to be different. You're gonna have a different experience. You're gonna meet different people that come out, and I don't know. If I can, I will continue to do it every year. I know it's not something I probably can do every year, but I'll put my name in. And if I get picked, I have until like March to get 100% refund, so I might as well try to get in and then figure it out later.
The feeling I feel for you is probably how normal people feel for me, because you said, I was like, oh, God, you're going to do it again? It sounds so crazy to me. I know I do hundos, and that's just so insane. Just how overwhelming it is. It seems like you've gotten so much better from 1 year to the next year. You've figured so much out and you got so much more, but you're still like, there's still more. And
There's still more I haven't
yeah,
experienced, and I don't know. I feel like I'm just reaching for something that I'm trying to figure out on the road. That maybe
yeah.
I need one more year. Maybe it'll click with me, or maybe I don't know. I want to do like every single journey race now. Can I just? I feel like every other month I just want to take 2 weeks off and just go walk across a different state. I I think that would be fun. I don't know. Type A fun. Am I just crazy?
No, it does seem like a reset in a way. I remember I did across the years a few years in a row. I mean, I did like a 48 hour, the next year I did the 3 day, the next year I did the 6 day. And every single year it was the same people coming together in Arizona at the end of December, early January. So they were loving the weather. And it was an Aravaipa race, but didn't have Aravaipa vibes, because I think across the years had its own vibe. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of feeling that with the Ball State too, to where was it like that this year on the ferry, when you're all on the ferry together and it's almost like you haven't seen these people in a year?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, and it even starts before the ferry. Tuesday, we call it the supper before last supper. It's
Mm.
not mandatory, but it's a Chinese buffet near the hotel that we go to mingle. Laz and Carl are there. And then we do a Tuesday night social where, there's ice chests with beverages and you hang out and people are talking. I had like a little Cliff's Notes version, and a lot of the newbies were like, oh my God, can you text that to me? And chatting with people, and just Brittany and I just kind of feeling like, we're veterans this year, and had a little more confidence and a little more outgoing. And then the next day, you do the bus ride backwards, and everybody's looking out the window and chit chatting, and we're telling stories about like pointing things out. And my friend Savannah, it was her first year. She kept peeking around a few rows up. She's like, "Can I come sit back there and listen to these stories?" Because she was I think her nerves were up there, which I remember that. And The ferry ride, I think, is somewhere that before you step off, you need to leave everything, any doubt, any fear, any negativity, leave that on the ferry when you step off. And that's what I plan to do. And then we got lost. So
It's part of the fun.
it is part of the fun. We just laugh about it now. The fast runners actually did more mileage. We only added about a quarter mile. They added a whole extra mile. So it's okay. I'll take it. We had to do an extra hill, but other than that, we just blame Carl. It's all Carl's fault. So
Someone might be finding this episode that's signed up for Vol State and might have the like, what the hell am I getting myself into? So I know there's a ton of knowledge throughout this episode. So if you're listening, listen to it twice. But do you have anything for the people that are signed up for Vol State, got into it, and any advice for those first runners, like the advice you were sharing on the bus?
kind of like everybody says, don't trust the first mile of a race or a run. Don't trust the first day. Like, it doesn't matter how far you get or if you're behind Oprah, who is the running cutoff. Like, just get through the first day. Actually, through the first 3 days. First 72 hours are going to be the hardest. And once you get past 72 hours, like, you're golden. You got this race. Just get through all of the ups and downs and twists and turns of the first 3 days and just look for the magic, manifest some magic and find some magic out there. I don't remember who exactly says this, but find the magic in the misery is one of my other favorite quotes. Is just, what can you do? Like, if you're miserable or having a bad time, or you want to quit, like, what there's nothing else to do. Just keep marching forward, because if you quit, it might take a few days for someone to actually pick you up, so you might as well just keep going. And then you might discover a new, your fifth, sixth, 29th runner's high, and just keep going. Forward pace. Relentless forward progress, because it doesn't matter. I mean, sometimes we were marching at like 30-minute miles. It doesn't matter. Just keep marching forward. And if you need to sleep and you're sleepwalking, find a nice slab of concrete. I guarantee you it's softer than it looks. And just lay down safely away from the road and close your eyes. And just don't worry about it, and then just get up and keep going. Concrete's very comfortable.
I am such a trail snob. None of that sounds good to me. You are such a badass when it comes to all of this. Anything else you wanted to dive into before lessons learned?
I just find the fun and the joy in it. And I mean, a lot of people don't, but I don't know, just kind of working through everything mentally, physically, spiritually. You're going to work through all of it during this race. And I find the joy in kind of working through all that, figuring things out. That's kind of my little puzzle pieces I like to do.
You definitely would come out of this one a different person. There's no way you can't.
You are a different person from when you step off the ferry until you hit that rock, or even if you don't make the rock, however far you get, like, you are a changed person, and you have new perspective of everything, pretty much. Like, you look at so many things differently, including nice places to sleep. But everything in life, just, I don't know, it's hard to explain unless you've actually experienced it. So y'all should do one. We can do it together. The Brazos trio back together.
So my friend was saying, she's like, why aren't you doing Ball State with her? I'm like, oh God, no. Like,
What
I
about
just did
Hans?
2 back-to-back 100-milers, both on pavement. I'm good. Like, get me back on trails. I am good.
I
Oh,
mean,
you are.
last like quarter mile, you're in a corn or a bean field and through some woods. I slept in some mud. I fell twice on the road.
So your race started when you fell?
Pretty much. It doesn't count unless I'm bleeding, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine either. Like, just reflecting on everything you talked about, moving forward with the bee sting on my ass. Because I've been stung in like the arm before, and I like roll my sleeve up, but like my pants would rub against that bee sting.
You walked up that hill with her top of her butt cheek hanging out of her pants because she's like, I don't want to put my nasty shorts over this thing.
That's what I was thinking. Like, you gotta have to have the booty cheek
Then
hanging
we-
out for
then
let the
we
air
got-
out.
Yeah, then we got to the campground where we can kind of. I think we were there was only one guy there, so we were like, I don't care. I'm just wrapping a towel around myself and whatever. Modesty and dignity and everything goes out the window after day one. So it is
Yeah.
what it is.
Sounds like a racer if you come out with like have your ass hanging out with a bee sting on it. It's just, oh, that's just a runner. That's just day three.
Okay, TMI. I had a heat rash, my whole entire lower back and my butt cheeks. Get to the campground, and after a shower, I just throw on my clean, dry tank top and some underwear that I hike up so so my butt cheeks can air out, laying on a cot. I don't care who walked in and sees my butt cheeks hanging out. I needed to air those suckers out because they were hurting. They were itchy.
This
Don't
episode is like every wrong move a person does in a scary movie that dies after.
Starting
have-
with the murder shed,
You
follow
have
the
the
light,
murder shed.
dolls in the dark shed.
Yeah. And then there's a note saying, oh, just come up to this room. We'll take care of you. Oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
And you did it.
And you did it.
We had people coming out of cornfields at us, and then from
Yeah.
that moment on, every cornfield we passed, Joey, are you in there?
Yeah. Come around to my back patio. Oh, sure. You can fall asleep on the back patio. Like,
Sure, would you like a popsicle? Like,
this really is a scary movie where the person watching it's like, don't do that. You're going to die. And you checked every one of those boxes and lived.
what's Tennessee? I mean, one of the places I put Brittany down to sleep at, I think she laid down, it was a bait shop, and I think she laid in some minnow juice, and then she smelled like nasty fish.
That's
Oh
how
my
the
God,
dogs were getting
so
after you.
bad. Yep. I mean, hey, can I sleep in the laundromat or can I sleep on the ground in someone's driveway that I don't know these people? Yeah. Come to think of it, yeah, Stephen King book and Laz as the protagonist. Because have you ever seen the movie Long Walk? We've seen that. It just came out. It's based on a Stephen King novel. We all joked that Laz was the major, making people do this walk across over 300 miles. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is what we're doing. He's just, yeah, it's a horror film. If we fall behind, he's going to shoot us or something. I don't know. Oprah will get us. She'll trample us with her high heels.
That's what it is. It is a movie of you two escaping death, Final Destination style, at all these angel stops, just escaping weird things through the cornfields. And at the very end, Oprah just tramples you on the bridge with her heels, and the credits roll up.
And the
There you go.
credits.
And then a commercial comes up for pasta in a bag.
MRS's, meals you can slurp.
Meals you can slurp.
That's Laz's
The-
idea. I've been told I have to give royalties to Laz and Carl if I come up with this idea. So you're welcome. 1%.
Speaking of meals ready to slurp, do you guys want to jump into lessons learned, or do you have any more stories you want to share?
I have so many stories, but we're running out of time. We'll have to do another podcast.
I know you got like Run Club coming up.
Any other questions about the race?
Well, that's what we ask the audience. So if you guys have questions, let us know, and we will do a follow
We'll
up.
do a part 2.
Part 2, top 10 questions for Lisa.
I love that because I have stories for days and days and days and days.
Better
It's like
yet,
for 8.5 days.
we're doing top 10 questions for Lisa and Brittany. We're gonna get her on.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, please. My giggle twin. I would love that.
She might want to defend herself after listening to this.
I did her good. She's a great woman. I love her. She's my best friend now. We're trauma bonded.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brittany, for picking up the swiftiness for me. All right, Nicole, lessons learned.
Yes. Baggies for meals on the go.
Yeah.
And sleep as much as you need, but keep going.
That.
And I learned that if a lady is getting moody, give her food and tell her she's pretty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That is probably the best lesson anybody can learn.
And the next thing I learned is if you go to pee on the other side of a guardrail, watch out for bees.
They will get you.
All right, Lisa, any lessons learned or final thoughts for everyone to wrap this up?
I mean, this whole entire thing was a lesson and a journey, so I don't really have anything more that I learned, but I think everybody should do some kind of journey. Doesn't have to be a race, but I think something that maybe scares you or terrifies you or you think There's no way in hell I'd ever do that or finish it or go there or put myself out there. Just do it. Like I'm tired of. I feel like I've lived a lot of my life kind of like, oh, I don't think I should do that, or I don't think I can, or that'll never happen. And now I am doing. So I think it doesn't matter if you're by yourself or scared or whatever. I think just go out, make your own journey. Make your own journey. That's my lesson.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. And
Mhm.
that'll wrap it up for this episode of Fails on the Trails. And until next time, find something that scares the shit out of you, sign up for it, do it, and you might end up doing it the next year and the next year. See everybody.